report, day 12. It's still raining. I think the great flood is upon us. I think I'm going to build a big-ass boat. Anyway, aside from that, before the boat's built, we're going to be going to Darkwood Manor tomorrow night. And to set that up, we're going to go to the radio stations this morning and let people know that we're going to be out there. And there's going to be photo ops, monster trivia, t-shirts, keys, and a really cool haunted house to go through. I might even walk through the house with some lucky winners. And we also have a dinner that we're going to attend for contest winners as well. And I'm looking forward to Luray Caverns. I like that kind of stuff when I travel around. Half the fun is seeing the locales. And yesterday Ethan went out in the cemetery and did a cemetery Ustream. People were just dying to get on TV. It's early in the morning. Bear with me, the humor gets better. Anyway, talk to you later at the station. Classic rock, here we come.
5:50 WSVA time is now 9:13. Coming up, we're going to be talking with Butch Patrick. You may remember him as Eddie Munster from the television series The Munsters. He's going to be with us in just a few moments, but right now we are going to check in with Jim Britt. He's out in Stewart's Draft this morning. Good morning, Jim. Of course, as Eddie Munster, and I tell you, that's one of those TV shows. There's certain shows that you go back and you watch them today, and because maybe they were a childhood favorite, and you go, what did I ever see in this show? But The Munsters, you know, and like I Love Lucy and some shows that came out of that era, you watch them today and they're just as funny today as they were back then.
You know, a lot of people ask me, you know, what do you attribute the lasting staying power of the Munsters? And, you know, a lot of it has to do, in my opinion, it was the 60s of television was somewhat of still a new medium to be dealing with. We were in black and white. 7:30 was the beginning of prime time in an era with no cable, no computers. People would come home and the TV dinners would go in, and a lot of people would gather around the television set as their main form of entertainment. And you had a huge pie slice, you know, of the American eyeballs right then in the evening. And on paper, the Munsters didn't look very good. It was like, you know, monsters living next door to people, like, you know, on Leave It to Beaver type of thing. But once you saw the show, and, you know, Frankenstein was not Frankenstein, he was Herman Munster. Mm-hmm. And Dracula was Grandpa. And it became very, very, you know, friendly neighborhood type stuff. And to this day, I think the biggest kick I get out of it is the fact that I'll see 10-year-old kids standing there with their grandparents and parents telling them they're watching the show with me, and they love it. Mm-hmm. Because it's got good moral fiber, family values, and good writing and some good stuff, and it holds up really well. If you didn't notice how old the cars were in the show, you'd think it was done today.
Well, TV Land has helped that a lot, I'm sure. Now, I heard once that the folks at ABC, when they put Bewitched on the air, got a lot of complaints because they were promoting witchcraft. Did you guys encounter anything from that, like that, from groups? I mean, today there's so many groups out there to complain about everything.
Right. I don't think we had anything like that because the Universal Studios was the monster studio, and what they did is they really just took the monsters that they had been releasing in movie form and applied them to a Leave It to Beaver friendly family situation. So I don't think that was an issue. The Addams Family, now I could see, you know, because it's funny, a lot of people mix up the two shows, and I go, it's very simple. Let me just clear this up for you. The Addams Family were people that were monsters that looked like people, mm-hmm. and the Munsters were people that looked like monsters. It's just as simple as that. You know, we were really warm, loving people that happened to look like monsters. Where the Addams Family was very dark, very edgy stuff. Yeah. You know, but no, we didn't have any. We got no flack. The censorship back then was really, really tight. Like for instance, we were the first TV family to sleep in the same bed, Herman and Lily Munster.
We've used that as a trivia question right here.
Yeah, it was funny because they were the first people to do that. Like today, Grandpa couldn't be in the basement making go-go pills for Eddie to win the track meet. You know, there's certain things that just don't fly.
Why not? I mean, you'd be in the NFL today.
Exactly, steroid boy. It's funny, you know, and it was fun. It's a great old show. People come out in droves, and it's one of the reasons why I have so much fun at the Halloween. The haunted industry is now an industry. Before it was trick-or-treating one night a year, and it's evolved into now into month-long celebrations.
Now the guys are here with Darkwood Manor. Are you afraid to get on the air over here?
Oh no.
Lewis Brown he is Darkwood Manor.
I was going to say, Lewis, you've been
Darkwood representative.
We don't want to get away from this. Of course, you're going to be appearing at Darkwood Manor, and Darkwood Manor is in Luray. You guys have been doing this now for 10 years at least.
This is our 11th year.
11th year.
Yeah.
It's one thing just to start up as a hobby, this little idea of, oh, let's have a haunted house as a couple of kids, you know, but you guys are serious about this, and if you've never been to Darkwood Manor and you enjoy haunted houses, you need to go.
Yeah, Darkwood is definitely a unique haunted house when it comes to Halloween attractions. We spend all year long doing our sets. You know, we do movie quality sets. We do movie quality makeup. My wife and I have done films ourselves, so we have the experience of doing the makeup and stuff, and everything looks great, and it's a great time. Everybody enjoys it.
Some of my neighbors were talking, they, teenagers, well, not teenagers anymore, but not that old, were talking about finding a place to go, and I mentioned that to them this past Saturday, and they said, oh, we went last year, they definitely were going to go again this year, because it's become a big attraction for people to travel from miles, I would say probably states around.
Oh yeah, we get people from North Carolina, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all around. People who travel for haunted houses. Yeah, Darkwood's developed a nice reputation over the years.
And the website, easy to remember, darkwoodmanor.net.
Yeah,
Correct.
darkwoodmanor.net.
Butch, I want to talk a little bit more about your past here. I know with a lot of stars, especially childhood stars, probably the last thing they want to do is go through the rest of their life being remembered in one role. And you mentioned you were in General Hospital, you did several other things, but did you go through a period where the last thing you wanted was somebody to come up to you and say, oh, it's Eddie Munster?
When I was about 18 or 19 years old, I had done a movie that was supposed to be released to vault me into the stratosphere, which was unfortunately shelved because of a Hollywood divorce between this producer and his movie star wife. So the combination of not getting my supposed nomination to go to the awards and this kind of stuff really hit me hard. And then on top of that, I did a Saturday morning series for Sid and Marty Krofft, which was called Lidsville, which at the time I thought was beneath me. In hindsight, I was totally mistaken because it was like HR Puff and stuff.
Yeah.
And the Bugaloos. And Lidsville was a very popular show even today. But to me, it was like a B quality role. So between those two things happening and getting my money out of the bank and being 19 years old and being the 60s still, I just kind of went crazy and got out of Hollywood, and I didn't do anything to do with anything, especially Eddie Munster, until about 1983 when MTV came on the air.
Can you stick around with us a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, we need to take a break for
Sure.
the Dow Jones Money Report. We're back with more with Butch Patrick in the studio with us, and also Jim Britt out at Stewart's Draft. We'll check in with him, all coming up here on WSVA.
Jobless claims.
You know, people don't realize.
Posey Rucker.
Rucker Posey.
Oh, Rucker Posey.
Welcome back to WSVA's Early Mornings, and Butch Patrick in the studio with us. Eddie Munster, as we have been calling him. He's at Darkwood Manor this weekend in Luray.
You know, Frank, we were talking during the break. You work with a great cast. People have no idea how accomplished the cast of the Munsters was.
They really were. Fred and Al had done Car 54, Where Are You, which was
I
a
remember that.
very
Great
popular
show.
New York show. So they came west. At the last minute, they had cast another kid and a woman named Joan Marshall as Phoebe Munster. At the last minute, they brought me in, and they brought in Yvonne DiCarlo as Lily, which I think was the spark that they needed, because Yvonne DiCarlo was actually above the line movie star. She was a bona fide movie star. She had done the Ten Commandments, where she married Charlton Heston, and she worked with Cecil B. DeMille. But her exposure as Lily Munster and her character, along with Fred and Al's antics, and then of course Beautiful Marilyn, Beverly Owen, and then Pat Priest, who picked up the slack. We were very lucky to have great writing, and our guest stars we always had the best guest stars and the best roles for these guys. They were lining up to do it, and that's I think why 47 years later that show is still so popular.
We were talking a little bit too earlier. You have some connections to this part of the country. Actually, your dad especially.
My stepfather, when I was doing the Munsters, believe it or not, he was a professional baseball player. I met him when he was on the Angels. He came to the Angels in the expansion, but prior to that, he was with the Yankees. He came up through the Yankee organization. He's buried next to Roger Maris. He was Mickey Mantle's roommate. I used to fly back and forth every couple of weekends. I'd go visit him when he was on the Washington Senators in the good old days when Gil Hodges was managing him. And it was really a great time. I mean, I was working during the week on the Munsters, and then when I had weekends, I'd go to the ballpark and shag flies for the pros. It was a good time.
You're going to be at Darkwood Manor this weekend.
I have, yeah, but Darkwood Manor, I got to never before seen the 8x10 photos for collectors. I got t-shirts. I got some great Tombstone 1313 front door keys. We're going to have some great time and good photo ops for everybody.
And more information online at darkwoodmanor.net. It's easy to get to. It's right off of Main Street in Luray on North Hawksville Street. And you can also, of course, give them a call and find out information too. But check out their website at darkwoodmanor.net. Thank you, Butch, for being with us.
Thank you so much.
It is 9:30. Up next, an update on the latest news from ABC. And Paul and Carl are standing by. He's getting ready right now, doing jumping jacks over there for an update on news. Right here on Early Mornings.